All right, how's this look? Now it needs to get back over here. Okay. Sorry I'm a little late today, everybody. We will get started here in a second. I just want to make sure that the camera angle is good because today we're going to go over some Muay Thai basics. That's right. It's pretty simple stuff. Easy stuff that you can practice at home. Just bear with me here. I'm going to get started here shortly. Today, I figure it would be a good time for me to have a Muay Thai instruction day. So that's what today is going to be about. I'll do a little bit of light exercise, but I'm mostly here just kind of to train you a little bit. And give you a bunch of different exercises that you can utilize for yourself to train at home. With that being said, I absolutely recommend, if you're serious about actually getting good at combat sports, sparring is an essential tool. Sparring is essentially when you go and you test the things that you've been practicing in real time, in real life situations, with willing opponents, with willing training partners. So if you really are serious about becoming a good martial artist, you actually want to improve your skills in martial arts in any style, I would recommend going and training, joining a gym. That way you can beat up on your training partners, or you jumped in on your training by your training partners. With that being said, there are a plethora of activities, drills, things that you can practice. to better your skills. But again, if you're serious about actually becoming effective at Muay Thai or any style of martial art, I'd recommend going and learning from a coach, because a coach can actually make adjustments with your stance, your movements, your strikes, your offense, defense, with your form, essentially. They can make adjustments with your form in real time. So, I definitely think that YouTube and videos are helpful if you already have like a good baseline of understanding with martial arts. But if you don't have like a baseline understanding of martial arts, and when I say a baseline understanding of martial arts, I mean like you've trained in martial arts, you have a feel for what your body should be doing when you're doing X, Y, or Z. It's important to have a baseline understanding before we go into like little nitty-gritty details of how you can improve, which I think videos and social media things can help you do. Like you can get a whole bunch of different drills of how to improve your balance from social media. You can get a whole bunch of drills to improve any sort of thing, improve your form a little bit. Here's an idea that you and your coach may not have thought about, exploratory. But to get a baseline, I always recommend going and finding yourself a coach, finding yourself a gym where there's people that you can learn from. And actually in real time interact with. What's up, Chris? Hey, you look tired, man. I look tired? What? I look tired. What's that supposed to mean? How dare you? Yeah, honestly, I do feel a little dehydrated. But we're here nonetheless. I'm gonna go light on myself. I'm just gonna do like some light exercises, but what I'm really doing is I'm gonna do live instruction, but I'm really getting some footage that I can then turn into like little shorts and stuff. So I'm kind of doing a double whammy here. Hit like and subscribe, y'all. Thanks, Chris. You know what? I didn't pin a message today, so I'm gonna pin that as a message. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate you, bro. What's your fighting style? I do Muay Thai. There we go. We got a pinned message now. Yay. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate you. So if you can see in the background there, I have the flags of South Korea, Brazil, and Thailand. And those are the flags of the countries of origin for which the martial art that I was formerly practiced in originated. So South Korea is Taekwondo. I used to do Taekwondo when I was a kid. I did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai at the same time. I started when I was 19. Now I'm 36. I used to do amateur fighting, but now Muay Thai is more of like a hobby for me. So yeah, and I'm starting to step into the shoes of being more of a teacher rather than being a fighter, so to speak. So that's kind of what this YouTube channel is a little bit about, is kind of trying to teach now and give back to the Muay Thai community, for which has given so much to me. I'm never going to claim that I'm the best. I'm not the best. I definitely believe there are so many other fighters that are way better than me. But I do think that I know enough that I can teach at least at an amateur level. So my channel is probably going to be a lot about basic foundations of Muay Thai. And, you know, I also care about health, calisthenics, nutrition, that sort of stuff, spiritual, mental strength. So that's kind of what my channel is about. I go live every single day, 3 p.m. Eastern time. How long did you compete? I competed for about 2 years, not a long time, not a very long time. I competed for about 2 years. And in those 2 years, I only had 4 fights, bro. Not a lot of fights. I was also doing jiu-jitsu at the time too. So I think I had like 2 tournaments that I did in jiu-jitsu. So not a lot. I really have very, very small amount of experience. I'm very amateur level. A lot of training. Yeah, a lot of training, like 5 years or so of training, but only like 2 years of that was competing. So, you know, it's something. I do think that I could teach, you know, Muay Thai, basics at least. But anyways, let's do a little warm up. We'll set this timer for 5 minutes. And then I'm just going to kind of warm up for a little bit. And then we'll get into a little bit of basics with Muay Thai instruction. Ugh. All right, I'm going to go over a few different warm-ups you can do for your legs. Kind of get your legs warmed up. First one is obviously jumping jacks. Easy peasy. Jumping up, jumping down, moving your body, moving your arms. Easy peasy. Everybody knows that. Not a big deal. Next one is 5-5-5. At least that's what I call it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like this on the side. 2, 3, 4, 5. 4, 5. 2, 5. 2, 5. 5. 2, 5. 2, 5. 2, 5. Next one I like to do is let's see, we'll do the swing. This kind of helps. So your left arm goes up, right arm goes back, left leg is back. So see how these two switch and this follows, and then you just jump up at the peak, and then we switch sides. It helps with balance, coordination. Next move, you do the swing kicks. So you can grab yourself a chair or not, and right leg, left leg, right, left leg, right leg, right leg, left leg, left leg, right leg. Hands up. This is sort of warm you up, loosen up your hips, loosen up your legs a little bit. Next one is, you'll wonder, hey, what's up, good? What's good, Chris? Next one is back kicks. We kick our leg back, and then at the last second, we bring our heel into our butt. And you should be getting a nice stretch in your quads when you do this. And what I like to do is I like to come up on my toe, come up on my toe, toe, toe. What I like to do is I like to come up on my toe, kick it back and back. It's a dynamic thigh stretching maneuver. Wonder, have you brought yourself a kettlebell? Laugh aloud, it wasn't for me. What else is next? So at first, we do the spinal twist. I know this is gonna sound really weird, but I'm definitely gonna go ahead and this live is totally for editing purposes for shorts later. So if it looks weird and like things I'm saying don't make sense, it's because I'm thinking about stuff and I'm gonna put it in later, but I'm gonna order it in such a weird way. So like right now, what I'm about to say is, here's some warm-up exercises for you to warm up right before your Thai workout. Here are some limbering, dynamic stretch slash plyometric-y workouts that you can do. So, oh my God, it's so annoying. Like you like, yeah, I once bought a 40 kilogram for my wife, but she can't use it, so I have to work with it. Yeah, you have to work with it. Yeah. You mean you get to work with it? You're funny. Here's a whole bunch of warm-up exercises for you to use to limber you up for your Muay Thai workout. Here we go. Yeah, it took me a moment to put that together. One of the first exercises I like to do is the spinal twist. Warms up the back a little bit. Oh, that's nice. Then we do the lunge twist. So you get yourself into a nice wide stance. You go into a nice wide stance, arms out. You twist into a lunge and touch your toe. Twist into the lunge. Let's see, we did the leg over. And then I like doing the leg over. And then I like doing the leg over leg. It's essentially a good exercise for you to keep it's a good exercise for you to warm up your balance, warm up your toes, warm up your hips. And then we go into the march. And the march is really nice to continue that balance progression. Looks like this. It looks like this. From the side angle. Next we have the mule, which essentially is a stretch for your quads, but it continues it's an exercise that continues to dominate your toes and your calves. How should I say that? I don't know. I used to use a 75-pound kettlebell. That's a lot for a woman. I used to weightlift a lot. She did weightlift a lot. So I already said something about the mule. How far into this? We're 25 minutes in. Okay, and then So when you're doing a leg kick, so when you're checking kicks, so when you're checking a leg kick, let's say your opponent is throwing a leg kick, and usually what they're aiming for is right above your knee. And there are such a thing as calf kicks. Calf kicks, but we'll get into that shortly, how to defend against that. But usually when someone's going for a leg kick, they're trying to go from above your knee all the way up to about this section. So they have all of this thigh to work with. But when you're checking the kick, you want to just, well, when you're checking the kick, there's a misconception that you check with your shin. You don't check with your shin. You check with your knee. Your knee is like a boulder. Your shin is like a baseball bat. Shin versus boulder, boulder is going to win. If you check with your shin, it's a question. It then becomes a question of whose shin is stronger, which baseball bat is stronger, and we don't play that game. We check with the knee. And so if they're going for a leg kick, all that's required is that you lift up your knee a little bit and point it out. So you're creating this sort of geometrical pattern, this sort of geometrical shape with your body, so that when you're in stance, your knee is kind of facing your opponent, but when the kick comes, you just turn it out and you put some weight into it. And so if they're just going for right above your knee, you just lift up, put some weight into it, and point the knee out, and you check with your knee. And a rule of thumb is, however high their kick goes, that's how high you lift your knee. So let's say they're going for my thigh right above my knee here. All I'm going to do is I'm going to lift my knee and point it out and put some weight into it, like this. So they go for a knee, they go for a thigh kick, boom. If they're going higher, I just go boom. Higher, boom. They go higher, boom. They go to a point where it's a body kick. Now my knee is going on the inside of my elbow. We don't go on the outside, because what happens is when you have this outside frame, you're using your leg, which is stronger than your arms, and you're creating this frame for which to support your elbow. And you're checking with your knee, keeping the knee a little pointed out. But what happens is, if they're going for a head kick, you have it pinned up against your hands here like this, or you have your hands up against you have your hands up against your head to create a frame, and your elbows are out. And once that knee comes in, it creates this nice solid rigidness with your arms, the framework of your skeletal structure. And what can potentially happen is, if they're going for anything higher than a body shot, that kick could potentially slide off and just glaze the top of your head, which is monumentally better than the kick actually landing square on your face. So if I have my hands here and I'm checking here because they're going for a head kick, boom. I'm using my knee to brace my elbow to keep the frame, and my hand is up against my head to brace the frame with the skeletal structure of my skull. And that kick can potentially just glaze over. So this is checking, by the way, which is essentially blocking kicks with your legs. So if they're going with their right leg is coming this way. They're going for my thigh, boom. They're going for a little bit above my thigh, boom, boom. They're going for a body kick, boom. They're going for a head kick, same thing, boom. Now if they're going with a kick on this side, there's two different ways to check. You could cross your leg over, boom, and check with the same leg, boom, like this. Let me move this mirror so I can see myself a little bit better. Okay, gonna chill on the couch with some roasted peanuts. See y'all. See you, Chris. I understand. you're not a big fan of watching the instructional videos with Muay Thai. I totally get it. I'll see you later, bro. Bye, man. Yeah. So there's two ways, right? You can cross and cross, or you can lift up this leg. Lift up this leg. This is your back leg, boom. This is your front leg, boom. And you can also check going in. So if they're trying to go for an inside leg kick on your front leg, you can do the same thing. So I'm in my stance, boom, 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 boom. If I'm being honest with you, I prefer using this leg because I'm ever so slightly lazy. And when they're going for an inside leg kick, they're going for this leg. This leg is too far back for me to come up and then check like right about here. And that's kind of weird. So when you check for the inside leg kick, you're just turning it in using your knee again. Boom, boom, boom. If they go up for a higher thigh sort of kick, boom, boom, boom. And so since I'm already on this path of teaching myself to cross my body with my leg for a check, that's the check that I prefer. So, but you can, if they're doing a body kick, you can block with the back leg and check with the back leg as well. So that's blocks. You have outside leg kick, inside leg kick, outside, outside, inside, inside. Always come back to stance. That's always going to be my go-to phrase. Back to stance, back to stance. So that's blocks. Let's see, what else? There is dodging. You could just dodge. So if they're going for an inside or an outside leg kick, you can literally sweep that foot out behind you. Bam. You see that kick coming? Bam. You're watching their chest, you're seeing their body movement, you see that kick coming? Boom. Boom. And that's it. You're just sliding it back. Slide it back. Slide. Step. Slide. And it sets you up for another kick. I'm a big fan of always counter. So if someone is throwing a combination, at the end of that combination, I'm coming back before they throw that, before they bring that fist back for that last punch. My fist is meeting their fist going back to their face. So if they're throwing a strike, well, parry, 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 and as that strike is going back, I'm already throwing another strike towards their face. I am a big fan of counter. So when we're looking at this particular situation and you slip, my leg is already back. If you take the time to change your angle of your body and not just slip it back, but also turn your hip back as well, you're primed for a kick. So if I just slip, throw a kick. I'm a big fan of the slip because it provides you an opportunity to kick. So we're at it again. Slip. This is the slip. My hip doesn't really change, slip. But then for the counter, and I want to kick this time, I throw my hip back and then I throw a kick. Now you could not throw your hip back for the kick, slip, but it's just not going to be as powerful of a kick if you prime it, give it more space to flow from where it's at to where it's going to go. Gives it more potential for higher velocity. So if I prime, throw the hip back, And also, you know, the basics of the kick: come up on your toe, twist of your foot. Okay, so there's that. Let's see. There's also catching. You can catch kicks. So let's say they're throwing a kick. There's parrying and then there's catching. So if they're throwing a kick and I just take a step back to get out of the way and I throw and I use my hand to guide that kick through, and then I throw my counter. So I'm in my stance, they're throwing their kick, and I step back. Let's say they're throwing a body shot to my body, and instead of trying to check it, I take my step back, and that provides me with enough space. So like this is my anchor point down here. Instead of being here and my body's right here, taking a step back, and now I have all this space between where my body was and where it is now. So I'm in their distance for a kick. I take a step back. I'm no longer in their distance while the kick is coming. So I see that they're setting up for the kick. I see the kick coming. The kick is now initiated. Once they initiate it, they've decided, they've made a decision. That's the kick that they're going with. You step back. And yes, there are people that can adjust. So you just need to be better at adjusting yourself, right? And that's what this whole game is about. But nevertheless, this is something that does work. Fighting in real time is like, it's a lot harder than people imagine it to be. And it's a lot more difficult to be fast with your reactions than people think that it is. For some reason, people think that you're just going to get blinders, get mad, and then just become like super duper Goku level, you know, basic ultra instinct. That's not, you have to train so hard to, and it's not you get mad, it's you overcome your emotions while they're happening, and you remain instinctual while also remaining clear-minded. That takes a lot of training. That's not just like, oh, well, I have the dog in me. The dog in you is going to get dogged. The dog in you is going to get dogged by someone who remains calm. Okay, so we're back at this. They throw a body shot. My body's right here. I'm taking a step back and seeing how my body was right here, and now it's right, and now I have all this distance between my body and where it was. I take a step back, and at the same time that that kick is coming, I parry it through. So they can make adjustments, but if you ensure that that kick is going to go through by using the parry, then you ensure that that kick actually goes through, that they follow along with the path that they've chosen nanoseconds ago. So I'm here, they're kicking, it's coming, I'm moving at the same time, and as it's coming, I parry it through, and then I throw my own kick and counter before they can recover back into their stance. So again, it would look like this. Oh, wait, hold on. I forgot the parry. So it would look like this. Fast is smooth, smooth is slow. You want to be fast, you got to be smooth. If you want to be smooth, you got to train slow. So that means slow down, Drew. Train it slow, and then over time, you get smooth with it, and your smoothness will translate into speed. So they're coming back, parry, kick. Back in the stance. They're coming back, parry, kick. Kicking, parry, kick. So they're kicking for my body, and instead of checking, I'm going parry the kick and kick myself. Okay, so you have parries. That is one example of how you can parry a kick. can also do this with teeps. Very interestingly enough, people will teep, and if you have a newbie on your hands, a lot of people, even amateurs, even amateurs, there are amateurs that will still put their weight into a kick, will still put their weight into a teep. So I'm talking like they're stepping into it, like their weight, instead of them staying on that back foot and doing their teep, and instead of doing their teep like that, where their back foot is stationary and they stay on their weight on their back foot, they're stepping into it. They're putting weight into their teep. And so you can very easily get people caught off guard if you do stuff like this. They're coming with the teep. You use that parry move. You're in your stance, you parry, and then you take a step forward. And if you're in range for a punch, you're in range for a punch. If you're even closer, you could throw an elbow. So they come with a teep. You can parry and step. They're coming with the teep, they're going for your gut. Parry, and you step. And you step into it. So I'm in my stance, parry, step, punch. I'm in my stance, parry, let's see, parry, step. But the parry and the step should happen at the same time. I'm putting this all together in my head as these are moves that I have tried and they definitely work, but I'm recalling at the same time that I'm trying to teach you and put it together. So step, punch, step, parry, step, parry. Step and parry at the same time. So I'm in my stance, step, parry, and then I throw a punch. I'm in my stance, step, parry, and punch. Man, losing circulation in my hands here. All right, so that's parries. You also have catches. You can catch kicks. So there's two different ways with your grip. You can come around this way and hook it like this, or you can come this way and hook it like this. Both ways are valid. I've tried both ways. I've done both ways. I've been successful. I've also failed both ways. Both ways are great. I love them both. It depends really on how the kick is coming and how you should time it. So if they're doing a body kick, what you can do is you can step to the side, which takes a little bit of the oomph out of the kick. So if I'm coming, if they're here in their stance in front of me and they're doing a body kick, I can come to the side and I see that it's a body kick. It's not, in my eyes, it's not smart to drop my hands for a body kick until that kick is already past like a certain threshold. If the kick has not passed a certain threshold and like the kick is still down there and I'm coming to the side and like my hand's already leaving my face, what if they do a question mark kick and that kick goes down and then comes back up and now there's this wide open space for them to kick me in the face? I don't like that. So you wait, you observe where the direction that the kick is going. You see that once it passes a certain threshold, you then take your step, and as soon as you know that it's coming for your body, then you can drop and catch. And it's always, it seems to always be a last second move that you do. So I'm in my stance, I take my step, and I catch that kick, which provides you an opportunity to do crossface, and you can step in and do a sweep, or you can, let's say you have the kick, you can then also do a crossface again, but then kick yourself and kick out that other leg. I'm a big fan of catching kicks. Big fan of all these moves, honestly. I mean, that's why I've chosen them to add them to my repertoire. let's talk a little bit about the push-pull concept. So this is more for when you're in a clinch with somebody, but the general concept still applies for strikes and stuff. Essentially, the concept is, if I push you, you're gonna push back. And in that instant that you push back, I'm pulling you. So I'm gonna use your decision, your decision to push back to come into my pulling of you. So if I push you, and let's say, and what I like to do is, and I can show you this in this clip from one of my clinching times when I was in one of my fights. I just kept pushing and pulling him and pushing and pulling him until he reacted, and it kept throwing him off of balance. And then he started pushing and pulling back, and then that's when I adjusted and I started using his push pulls to my pull pushes, and that's when he really started losing his balance. So you push somebody, and if they push back in the instant that they decide, that's when you pull. And so the concept is kind of the same when it comes to baiting someone into doing something. So if I'm gonna fight somebody and I keep throwing leg kicks, let's say I keep throwing a leg kick, I keep throwing a leg kick, and I keep throwing that leg kick, and we get to a point where now, after the first round or the second round, you believe that all I like to do is throw leg kicks. So I let you get to a point where you're so comfortable checking that leg kick that you don't believe anything else is going to happen. That now when I throw a kick, that one time that you're not ready for it, I'm not going to throw a leg kick. I'm going to make it look like it's a leg kick, and then I'm going to go for a head. So it's kind of the same concept. You show them one thing, you provide them with one thing, and then when they lean into that one thing, you give them something completely the opposite. That is the push-pull concept. Let's do some quick defenses. So if someone's doing straight punches, parry, 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 parry. If someone's doing hooks to the head, hook, block, 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 block. If someone's doing hooks to the body, hook, block, 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 block. If someone's doing an uppercut, I extend this arm out, and this hand covers and catches. If they're going the other side, catch, 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 catch. So let's see, there's hooks, there's jabs, hooks, hook to the body, uppercut, uppercut. What about downward? I'm not a big fan of haymakers. I like to go straight. So let's push, that is punch defense. We've done check defense. Knee defense is kind of difficult to show without a partner, but I'll try my best. If someone's trying to go for a knee, generally what I'll do is distance is your best friend, or stepping into it, moving yourself. A knee is essentially when you put a lot of your weight into a strike. So if I'm throwing my knee, I'm throwing I'm throwing that knee. Let's say it's a straight knee, right? Well, I'm throwing a lot of weight into that knee, so it's kind of difficult to block a knee. So you have all these different moves for defense. You have blocking, which is essentially I'm standing my ground and I'm putting a wall up between me and then you have blocking, and you can just block, and then you have blocking. This video is so jumbled up. Like I'm gonna have to search throughout this whole video to find little bits, and then, oh, that's supposed to go back here. Like when I edit this video. Let's see. So yeah, blocking is essentially when you put up a wall. When you essentially put up a wall, you stand your ground and put up a wall. And that's like one of the last things you want to do. You have the ability to move. Moving is the first thing. You want to dodge. Dodge. You can pivot yourself out of the way. Pivot yourself out of the way. Pivot yourself out of the way. Pivot. Move out of the way. That's the first thing that you want to do. The next thing that you want to do is parry. So if the thing is coming, you could potentially parry the knee, but you want to pair that with also moving, because that knee is coming. That's a lot of weight coming your way. That's a lot of the person's body weight headed in your direction. And unless you're like, Goku up in here and you could just stop people, that are equivalent to your size from having mass amounts of momentum, which that's even difficult for big people to do. It is. If they have someone who's equivalent to their size coming at them with momentum, like they're not going to stop another person with their size with momentum. So if you have another person your size coming at you with momentum, you also got to move. So if they're coming with a knee, you can parry, but you also got to move out of the way. So the parry is, if you can't fully move out of the way, the parry can kind of deflect the movement. And let's see, so you have dodging, you have parrying, you have blocking. These are like the three things. I think there's more, but there's like three things that you want to do. What's up, Naden? How you doing, bro? But there's essentially three things that you want to do when you're defending against strikes. I feel like there's four, but I'm forgetting what the fourth one is off the top of my head. I mean, you have dodging. You want to just dodge out of the way. You have parrying, which you would want to pair with moving. And I mean, that's not necessarily what happens when you're parrying punches. You kind of just stay there, because the punches have like a distance of a differentiation of distance that are inches, versus a knee could have like maybe a whole foot. So like, even if I were to try and parry that, it's still going to keep going. So like, I should probably also move out of the way. That's not to say that you couldn't parry a knee only, given it's the right circumstances. Nice, man. Thanks, homie. I'm trying to teach. I'm trying to put together a couple of good clips from this live. So I'm trying to put together like a couple of good clips. So I'm doing the live, teaching a little bit, and then I'm probably going to hit the bag for a little bit. I'm not going to do a lot though. Man, we're already 55 minutes in. Okay, let's see, what else do we got? So yeah, and then I guess another defense when it comes to knees, I would say, is to go offensively. So like, if they're coming with a knee, if you can time it, because the knee is a long distance weapon. The longest weapon on your body is your legs, right? And so your kicks are the longest weapon that you have. And then it's knees. People will say that, okay, well, I have my punch is longer than my knee. But when you actually effectively implement the knee and you throw that knee out, the knee is ever so slightly longer than the punch. Do you see? Oh my God, Drew, keep your balance, bro. So when I have my punch out, when I throw my knee is ever so slightly longer than my punch. So it goes, you have kicks, you have knees, you have, okay, that should be in there, distance. I forgot all about distance. That's another thing to teach. So, right, you have your kicks. Your longest weapon on your body is your kicks. Then you have your knees, and then you have your punches, and then you have your elbows, and then you have clinch. And so you have basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's the art of 8 limbs, but they always seem to forget about the clinch. Really should be the art of 9 limbs, because clinching is involved when it comes to Muay Thai. I mean, for the most part. I guess clinch isn't considered a weapon. It's really just considered something that you do rather than an actual weapon. Because you utilize your weapons in the clinch. You utilize knees and elbows in the clinch. So there are so many different wide varieties. There are a wide variety of different knees. And they range from different distances, but your longest knee is longer than your longest punch, which is why your knee is considered to be a weapon that's longer than your knee, or that's why your knee is considered to be a weapon longer than your punch. So like I was showing you before, I have my punch, and you would say that no, my knee is longer, my punch is longer than my knee. But when you actually implement the knee to its fullest extent, your knee is actually slightly longer than your punch. What's up, Rajesh? How you doing, homie? What else? So if you think about it, you have about 5 different zones. So if you think about it, you have about 5 different zones of distance when it comes to striking an opponent. If in the outermost distance is your kicks, and then the distance next to that is your knees, and then and it's very blended with your knees and your punches, because your punches and knees are so close in distance, and there's so many different kinds of punches and knees that it's basically punch and knee distance. But knee distance is a little bit outside of punching distance, ever so slightly. And then you get to a certain distance where you're in elbow range, and then from there it's clinching range. I gained muscle and can lift 15 kilogram dumbbell easily now. Didn't you just say the other day that you lost a bunch of weight because you were feeling scrawny or something, because you like, I mean, whatever. That's awesome, bro. That's fucking kudos. Kudos to you, bro. Hell yeah. Good job, man. That's what I like to hear. Can lift 15 kilogram dumbbells easily. What is 15 kilograms? What is that? 30 pounds or something? 32, 30, it's like 30 pounds, I think. 32 pounds, something like that. So you have your kicks, you have your knees, you have your punches. You have your elbows. You know, and maybe I might not be the best example because my arms are, like, I have freakishly long arms. My height is 77 inches, 77 and 3/4 inches, or 197 centimeters tall. And my wingspan is 88 inches, or 232 centimeters wide. I do not have the best proportions to show that your knees are actually longer than your punches. Okay. What's the next thing? Next thing. This push-pull concept. I cannot stress enough how important feints are when it comes to guiding your opponent to doing something that you want them to, and something that's outside of the bounds of something that they're comfortable doing. So if I start teaching him that I throw a lot of jabs, and he starts getting really good at blocking those jabs, and you can see in his eyes the confidence that he's getting that, okay, well, this isn't too bad. I can block those jabs, it's pretty easily. And so then I just flip a switch at some point in time when I feel comfortable that he's comfortable with blocking my jabs. I throw boom, boom. I throw a feint. And if he's watching my chest like he should be able to see whether that jab is coming or not. But more often than not, even professionals will get comfortable with patterns. And so if you're throwing that jab, 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 and I throw that cross instead and you're not prepared for it, I cannot stress enough how important feints are. And there's so many different kinds of feints. I could throw this kick, and throw this kick, and throw this kick, and throw this. Oh, yeah, there we go. So I throw this kick. That's a better use of the feint. I throw this kick, and I throw this kick, and I throw this kick, and I throw this kick. I use a teep instead. Are you black belt, bro? What martial arts are you doing? Muay Thai? How do you defend against knife attack? Oh, dude, I'll be honest with you. I've not trained in knives, but my immediate response would be to run away. When it comes to knives, it's not hard to be squirrely with a knife. You don't really need a lot of training to be able to, do a lot of damage with a knife. So what is it that they say? If it's a knife, you get distance and you get yourself a longer weapon, right? If you find yourself getting cornered. If it's a gun, then you swarm the person, right? I would recommend running away from anybody with a knife. Now, let's say it's a certain situation where I cannot back down. Like, let's say my kids are behind me and we're trapped in a room. Like, I'm gonna take my kids and I'm gonna back them up as far as I can. And while I'm backing up, I'm looking for weapons that are much longer than a knife, like a chair or something. And I'm gonna put that chair in between me and that person with a knife. And, you can also find things to throw too, but as far as like specific techniques, I don't really have any specific techniques other than if it comes down to a point where it's me and this person with a knife and I have no knife of my own, my first thing is straight up going to be attack the knife hand and just gain as much control of that knife hand as possible, knowing that I'm probably going to get sliced up a little bit in the process. And the only reason why I'm attacking this person with a knife is because my children are over there, we're cornered, we've got nowhere else to run, and there's no other choice, and I see the lunacy in this person's eyes. They want to obviously do harm to me, and for some reason, me being a 6'5", 6'6" person that has some martial arts skill isn't deterring them because they have a knife or something like that. And I can't seem to find any other weapons around. Like, my last resort is to attack the knife hand, gain as much control as I can over the knife hand. And if I'm being honest, in my mind, if I gain control of that knife hand, I'm stabbing this person to death. I'm killing them because I have no other resort. I need to neutralize this person. I need to neutralize this threat. And whatever comes of that, it comes of that. But yeah. Always be prepared to be cut. Yeah. Defending against a knife. I live in England, so my plan is run, kicks, wrestle, boxing. Yeah, I mean, my plan is run, like I just said, run, find weapons, attack knife hand as much as you can, grab the knife as much as I can, kill the person if I can. Arms 90 degrees and try to block his wrist with your underarm wrist. Nice, I'll try that. Can't avoid being cut. The plan is to avoid being attacked. Stabbed. Yeah, right. The wrist where the knife is, of course. And at the same time, stretch your body to the back. I'm not envisioning at all what you're saying. I was once slashed by a knife coming from school in my forearm as I was blocking, managing to break away though. Yeah, I mean, man, if people are fucking crazy and like they come at you like and you have no time to react, like you probably did the best thing you probably could have. You know, there's no need to be a hero, you know. And really, unless there's a need to be a hero, like I mentioned before, like let's say I'm with my family and you know, we're back in a corner. There's nowhere to run, you know. Maybe then I'd have to step up and attack this person with a knife. It's literally the only scenario that I can imagine that I would be attacking a person with a knife. I can pepper spray, so just pepper spray them. Chris MOD now? Yeah, he's mod now. Krav Maga have great techniques against weapons. Yeah, I mean, they do, but I'm pretty sure they would say, what's up? What's up, Briska? I'm pretty sure they would say also, if it's a defense situation, they would probably also say there's no point in attacking someone with a knife if you don't have to. I feel like they would probably start off with, before we teach you any techniques, obviously, if this is a self-defense situation, you should try and run as much as possible. But yeah, no, absolutely. Like, honestly, like, training with a knife would probably be a good idea, you know, especially if you live in an area that's like the main weapon of like criminals or something. The thing about going for the knife hand, it's very easy to maneuver your hand away as the attacker. If you miss, you're getting stabbed. Are you teaching self-defense? Yes, you have to run, of course, run. Yeah, I was teaching Muay Thai earlier. I was just teaching some techniques with Muay Thai. And the type of Muay Thai that I like to do is like sport Muay Thai. So, you know, I mean, you could translate Muay Thai into defense, but that's not necessarily what I teach. I mean, if I'm teaching you defense, it's going to be like, well, if it's defense, then like you're trying to run away. You're not trying to be in this situation, you know. And the defense that I teach is like a last resort sort of thing. But it's very heavy Muay Thai based, heavy Thai based. It's very Muay Thai, and it's really more of like what I'm used to again is more like sport Muay Thai, you know. Oh, I know what it is. What is it? That's cool. I do boxing. Nice. Hell yeah. Boxing is fun. I'm a big fan of boxing. I think that's cool. Nowadays, if I know I'm going to be walking alone at night. I always borrow my grandpa's wooden walking stick. Nice. Does it have like a sword like in it? That'd be awesome if it did. Muay Thai is the best martial art. Yeah, I mean, Muay Thai is the shit, man. Muay Thai is the shit. Don't ever forget. Yeah, I like Muay Thai. Sweet. Well, I feel like I haven't really worked out today. I've just kind of been teaching this whole 77 minutes. Okay, Muay Thai only, boxing, karate, wushu, kalari. AK-47? How to stand against bullets. So this is how you do it. You have to be born on Krypton, and then as your planet is dying, your parents have to ship you off to another planet, and then you have to land on Earth, this planet, where they, use guns and bullets and stuff, which are ridiculously silly weapons to you because you're an alien from another world, and bullets don't really affect you. So that's really how you defend against bullets, easily. No, it's just normal walking stick. Laugh out loud. All. Catch it with chopsticks if you get shot. Yeah, yeah, catch it with shot. Chink. That's funny. For me, in our one MMA, or number one MMA, number two Muay Thai. That's awesome. That's cool. Hell yeah, bro. Yeah, I just Muay Thai is just my favorite. I'm not necessarily like, it is what it is, Muay Thai is like my favorite, and that's just, I do like MMA. It's just not my specific cup of tea, but it's also like what I've practiced the most. So I'm from Iran, and here they crack down people by that. AK-47. Oh, like with AK-47s? Dang. Or dodge bullets like a Matrix, easy peasy. Oh yeah. Yeah, well, if they're shooting me with the AK-47, I'm just gonna be like, no, and then the bullets will just stop right there, and then I'll just be like, and they'll fall to the ground. Duh. So that's how you do it. Oh, I mean like most efficient fighting art. Like most efficient. I don't know. I think it depends on what you're doing. Because what is mixed martial arts? Because isn't that just martial arts? Isn't mixed martial arts just martial arts? But this is my problem with MMA, is because it's like trying to be something that's already been invented. Like martial arts was already invented. Martial arts is the study of how to fight, utilizing any style. And then it's like, UFC started happening, and capitalists saw an opportunity to rebrand martial arts as mixed martial arts and turn the idea of just taking the important things. They literally tried to take the exact same idea that Bruce Lee was trying to do. He tried to rebrand martial arts as Jeet Kune Do, and that's what Jeet Kune Do is. Jeet Kune Do is the mixture of all martial arts, but it just didn't get ahead of mixed martial arts. So to me, that's what mixed martial arts is. It's just, that's why I'm not a big fan of mixed martial arts, because I don't buy into it. I think it's a joke. Like martial arts is martial arts. Martial arts is the ability to use any style to be effective. And it's open to anybody. And they literally rebranded it. The UFC rebranded it so that they could, sell it. That's how I see it. Try not to fight unless they attack you in a situation you can't escape. Pretty much. Yeah, that's pretty much self-defense right there. Mixed, so standing and on the ground. I wrestle. I mean, we need fucking weapons. Tell your president to send them. We're using boxing isn't working against AK-47. I mean, yeah, like that's not what I'm trying to preach either. So MMA for me is BJJ and Muay Thai mixed. You look at the word very technically. Yeah, I mean, but that's what it is. That is literally what it is. It's literally rebranded martial arts. Like why do I need to add another word to martial arts when like it's already the idea that it's a multitude of different styles that you can just pick? Why do I need to like put myself in a category? I'm a mixed martial artist. I would just rather say I'm a martial artist and I practice a multitude of different styles. Like I have 3 different styles that I have formal training in. I have Taekwondo, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and Muay Thai. You know, I don't need to call myself a mixed martial artist. You know, you read a lot of books, I guess. Yeah, dude, bro. Okay, so yes, I do. And when I was younger, I read way more, and I would read all of the books from every single martial arts master that I could get my hands on. I read Miyamoto Musashi's book, Sun Tzu. What else? I mean, I read Bruce Lee's book, but that's basically what he was trying to rebrand martial arts as Jeet Kune Do. You know, I read some Muay Thai history books, like the history of Muay Thai, because that was the specific art that I felt worked best for my body type and my body structure and my liking. You know, and there were some philosophical books, you know, Lao Tzu's Tao Te Ching. That's an easy read. That's super duper easy. Anyways, yeah, I read a lot of books. Have a great time. Yeah, you too, man. See you, bro. Okay, you're all right on that. Ikigai, have you read? Only saw all Bruce Lee movies. Yeah, they're pretty good too. Ikigai is that Japanese idea of finding your inner peace, finding your purpose, finding your calling. No, I've not read the book, but I have read some things on it, and I've seen videos on it. And yeah, that's a book that I should probably add to the list of books to put on my library shelf. But yeah. What? I have a confession to make. I didn't really work out today. I mean, I did a little bit of light stuff, but really what I did today was I used this live to teach basics for Muay Thai, and I really wanted to get a whole bunch of footage for myself to cut into shorts for later. So that's kind of what I did today. I have the Murph challenge coming up on Monday. So that's a 1 mile run, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 squats, and then another mile run again. And that's happening on Monday. And I just wanted to make sure that I was well rested for that. So, but I'm going to go live on Monday for that event. And that's going to be at 9 o'clock in the morning here instead of 3 p.m., which is usually the time that I work out. So I don't know what time that's going to be for you guys, but 9 a.m. Eastern time, that's when I'll be on Monday. And we're doing the Murph. Okie dokie. I hope you all enjoyed the teaching day. Adios, y'all.